Welcome back to Cinema Scoop. If you love shark movies, this recap is for you. Today's video is on the survival horror film 47 Meters Down. Join us for crazy plot twists and jump scares that will make your heart drop. Spoilers ahead. We see Lisa relaxing on a floaty with a glass of wine before her sister Kate swims up from below and pushes her over. They laugh for a bit, and Kate begs her sister to do something fun finally. However, Kate refuses and heads back to her room to give her boyfriend Stuart a call. We find out that this vacation was for Lisa and Stuart, but since Stuart couldn't make it, Kate came along instead. Later that night, Kate wakes and finds Lisa crying outside. Kate confesses that Stuart actually dumped her, which is the real reason he's not there. She blames herself for the breakup as he's made her believe that he left because she was too boring, and it hurts her that she messed up the one good thing she had. To make her feel better, Kate convinces her to go out. They party for a while with two men they met before heading back to their room. Lisa messages Stuart, telling him that she wishes he was there. However, he sends an impassive response and lets her know he's cleared out his things. At dinner, their new male friends tell them about a fun shark cage diving activity they go on almost every weekend. Kate is ecstatic about this, but Lisa is the opposite as she doesn't know how to dive and is afraid of the massive sharks being so close. Kate tells her that she'll teach her everything she needs to know, and Benjamin informs her that she won't need diving skills since she'll be in a cage and only underwater for about 5 minutes. Kate persuades her by telling her that she could get photos a boring person couldn't, and they all cheer when she finally agrees. The men walk them back to their room, and Kate makes out with Benjamin. Lisa, on the other hand, doesn't, stating that she's not ready. Louis understands, and just as they're about to leave, Lisa changes her mind and runs back to kiss him. When they get to the jetty in the morning, Lisa voices her concern about how risky the trip is. They meet the men and walk across the jetty to a little boat. While Louis and Benjamin speak to the captain, Lisa again voices her concerns, questioning their safety. She reiterates that the concierge advised against activities that the hotel did not offer, but Kate assures her that they'll have fun. The men introduce them to the captain, Taylor, and he questions if they both know how to scuba dive, to which Lisa lies that she does. Taylor stares at them a bit longer, obviously suspicious, but allows them to board the boat anyway. They travel to another bigger boat, where they board and meet Javier. Lisa is skeptical about the rusty cage, but Louis and Kate calm her down. Taylor guides the boat out to deeper waters while Javier preps the air tanks and buoyancy compensation devices, or BCD. When they arrive, Javier empties a bucket of chum into the water to attract the sharks. Kate questions this, as it is illegal, but Javier teases her by asking if he should call the shark instead. Kate is the first to spot a shark and calls for Lisa to see it, but she realizes she's not there. She finds Lisa in the bathroom anxiously washing her face. Lisa is adamant that she doesn't want to do this, but Kate begs her, pressuring her to do it so that she can make Stuart jealous with the photos she'll get. Lisa reluctantly agrees, and they head out to watch Louis and Benjamin go first. Javier lowers the cage into the water, and Louis and Benjamin enter it from the door at the top. Then Taylor locks the door, and Javier slowly lets the cage down further into the water. Taylor calls the girls over to show them a shark that's about 20 feet long. He tells them to get suited up, and while they do that, they both confess to being very nervous. Taylor checks on Louis and Benjamin over comms, and they express their excitement. As Taylor helps them put on their gear, he tells them to check their air pressure gauge to ensure they have 200 bars. Although Lisa is trained and knows how to check, Kate is obviously inexperienced, so Taylor hands her the scuba pressure gauge. He tells them to inform him when it gets to 100 bars, and at 50 bars, he'll bring them back up. He tells them they'll only be let down about 5 meters into the water and advises that they take controlled breaths to not use up their air. The cage is pulled back up, and Louis and Benjamin exit, hollering with excitement. Javier tells Kate that sharks hear well underwater, can hear their heartbeat from 5 miles away, and can sense if they're frightened or weak. Taylor tells the girls not to pay attention to Javier, and they hop into the cage. Kate borrows Benjamin's camera, and she takes a picture of Lisa before the cage descends. Kate is the first to enter, and Lisa follows suit before Taylor closes the door. They're lowered further down and marvel at the sight, instantly forgetting their fears. Taylor checks on them via comms, and they assure him they're okay but don't see any sharks. He tells them that he'll add more chum to the water to lure the sharks there. Kate takes another picture of Lisa and then hands the camera over so she can get a photo as well, but Kate drops it. Just then, a shark swims up and swallows it. It circles them as they watch it in amazement, and another appears. The cage accidentally slips down a bit further, but Taylor assures them everything is okay, just a slip on the winch mechanism. Riddled again with fear, Lisa requests to be brought back up even though Kate begs her not to. Kate asks Taylor if she can go back down once Lisa exits the cage. As Louis tries to open the cage, the winch mechanism gives out, and the cable unravels, causing the cage to sink. We see the depth increasing, and as they reach the end of the cable, the weight of the cage yanks on the crane, causing it to detach from the boat, and the cage sinks all the way to the bottom. The crane lands beside them, then falls over onto the cage. We see an unconscious Lisa who has suffered a nosebleed from the impact. As her mask fills with water, Kate tries to wake up while hyperventilating. She presses a button on the mask to eject the bloodied water, and when Lisa comes to, she begins to panic. Kate advises her to calm down and helps her to control her breathing to avoid her using up her air too quickly. They check the gauge to find that they are 47 meters down. They hear noises over comms, but it cuts in and out since their depth interferes with the signal. Lisa suggests swimming up for a better connection since they must be just outside of the range of transmission. Kate begs her not to, but eventually lets her go since it's their only option. However, when Kate tries to open the door, she realizes that the crane is preventing it from fully opening. They try to push it off with their feet, but to no avail. Kate believes she can squeeze through the bars, but must remove her tank to do so. Lisa is against this, but she does it anyway, handing Kate her BCD. When she tries to fit through the bars, she gets most of her body out but can't fully get through because of her mask. She realizes she must take her mask off, but Lisa begs her not to. She tells Lisa to calm down, then takes a few deep breaths, removes the mask, and gets through the bar. Lisa hands her the mask and she tries to put it back on quickly but loses a lot of air in the process. Lisa hands her BCD, but before swimming up, she removes the crane so that Lisa can escape in case she doesn't make it back. She then heads up, and when she's in range of transmission, she informs Taylor that they're alive and need help. She tells him that she's at 55 bars and they are 47 meters underwater, but she had to swim up to 40 meters to get in contact with him. Taylor advises her to return to the cage immediately as it is the safest place for them, and he tells her that he's sending Javier down with a spare winch to connect to the cage. He warns her not to race to the surface or else she'll suffer the bends, a condition where nitrogen bubbles fatally fill the brain. She returns to the cage where Lisa is curled up anxiously waiting for her. She tells Lisa the news, and Lisa expresses her relief. As they sit and wait, Kate apologizes for dragging them into such a risky situation. Later, they laugh at how Stuart would lose his mind hearing about them being stuck 47 meters underwater, but their fun is cut short when they hear the boat's engine. Lisa begins to panic, believing that the men have left them, and Kate heads out to contact Taylor again. As she's trying to reach him, a shark swims up to attack her but misses. She rushes back to the cage and tries to get in, but a chain from the crane restricts the door. She removes it and enters the cage just in time before the shark can get her. The shark circles back, biting into the cage and bending the bars, but gives up and swims away. Kate admits to not reaching Taylor, and Lisa begins to panic, but Kate is adamant that they won't leave them down there to die. Lisa believes that their only hope is to swim up, but Kate advises against this due to the risk of getting the bends. She tells Lisa that the only way to successfully go up is with a 5-minute decompression stop, but they would be in open water with the sharks. After, she asks Lisa to read the air pressure gauge, to which she responds with 80 bars. Kate tells her she has about 20 minutes before her air runs out. Lisa presses Kate until she admits to a reading of 30 bars. Just then, they hear sounds over comms and spot a flashlight in the distance but begin to worry when they don't see Javier coming toward them. Kate bangs a stone against the cage to signal Javier, believing he may not know where they are. However, this doesn't make a difference. Kate is now at 17 bars, and Lisa volunteers to go get Javier. Kate advises her to stay close to the ocean floor since sharks attack from below. She shows Lisa how to control her BCD to help her move up and down, and then warns her not to go straight up no matter what happens. Lisa travels across the ocean floor, but Kate alerts her to an incoming shark, and she manages to crawl into a small space before the shark can get her. However, it finds another opening and tries to attack her. She finds another place to hide, and the shark swims away. Then she continues her trek toward Javier but realizes she's now at the edge of a cliff and cannot see the ocean floor anymore. She fearfully swims across, unfortunately losing signal with Kate. Lisa finally reaches the light but doesn't see Javier, and after spinning around in circles to find him, she now notices that she can't tell which direction she came from and can no longer hear Kate over comms. She calms herself and then starts swimming blindly, not knowing where she's going. Just then, a shark swims into view, almost biting her. Javier swims up behind her, advising her to get back to the cage, and the shark gets him. She rushes back to the cliff, now able to hear bits of what Kate is saying. She asks Kate to bang a rock on the cage to signal her location, and Kate does so. As she's about to move, Javier's body frightens her. After realizing his tank is empty, she takes the winch and his spear gun and follows the sound back to the cage. She attaches the cable to the cage, but Kate notices its thinness and questions if it will hold long enough. Lisa heads up to let Taylor know that the winch is attached, and after a little while they hear the sound of the winch mechanism, and the cage moves upwards. However, when they reach 28 meters, the cable begins to break, and it eventually tears apart. They sink back to the bottom, and Lisa gets her leg caught below the cage. They try to remove her leg, but the cage is too heavy. At this point, Kate is at 5 bars, so she heads up to inform Taylor of this and about Lisa's leg. He tells her he'll send down air tanks, but explains that he didn't do this before because switching air tanks would drastically increase their chance of nitrogen narcosis. He advises her that they must watch each other closely after switching tanks and tells her that he's alerted the Coast Guard, who's sending a team that should be there in less than an hour. Back in the cage, they wait for the oxygen tanks to drop. Kate spots them first and heads out to grab them, but she's now at 2 bars. She switches over to a full tank and finds 3 flares which she tucks into her bag. Just as she's about to reach the cage, a shark circles her. She stays close to the floor, and Lisa advises her not to move since it's right above her. However, believing she can make it, she moves too early, and the shark gets her. Lisa bawls at the loss of her sister. She eventually calms herself and refuses to die there. She tries to dig under her foot to make space to remove it, but fails. She realizes that she's now at 4 bars and reaches for the spear gun in hopes that it will help her retrieve the full oxygen tank nearby. However, upon pulling the gun, she accidentally sets it off when the trigger presses on a bolt, and the spear cuts her palm. She throws it at the tank but misses it multiple times. With her air almost depleted, she continues to try. Finally getting a hook on the tank, she pulls it towards her and switches over just as her air has completely run out. Over comms, she hears Lisa, who managed to escape the shark but is bleeding excessively and attracting more sharks. She has 30 bars left, but her BCD has been punctured and her oxygen is now escaping. Lisa advises her to control her breathing and tucks her BCD under the cage before pressing the trigger to inflate it. It lifts the cage just enough for Lisa to pull her leg out, but she cuts her leg badly in the process. She heads out to find Kate, who's lying on the ocean floor. Believing their only option is to go up before Kate bleeds to death, she grabs her sister, who sets off a flare to ward off the sharks, and they swim toward the surface. She informs Taylor of this when she contacts him, but he advises her not to because of the bends. She refuses due to Kate's injury, and he tells them to take a decompression stop when they reach 20 meters. The flare goes out, and as Kate is about to light another one, she drops it. Lisa hands her the flashlight, and when she lights the last flare, we see that 3 massive sharks are surrounding them. When the last flare dies, Taylor urges them to remove their BCD and swim to the surface as fast as possible. He throws them a lifesaver when they get to the top, but just before they can grab it, a shark latches onto Lisa's leg and pulls her below. She manages to resurface and grab the lifesaver. Taylor pulls her in, but just before they can pull her up, the shark bites her leg again and pulls her underwater. She fights it off, digging into its eye until it lets go, and both Lisa and Kate make it onto the boat. Louis, Benjamin, and Taylor tend to their wounds before she notices something weird happening with the cut on her palm. We come to realize that after she switched out her tanks, she began hallucinating and never made it to the top. She laughs to herself in the cage below, still believing that she's back on the boat with Kate. However, when the Coast Guard team arrives, she comes back to reality and they help her to remove her leg from under the cage. The movie ends as she cries for her sister while they guide her to the surface. Subscribe to CinemaScoop so you never miss the latest movie explanations, reviews, and analyses. Thanks for watching.